what's happened is big chemical companies and others have got all this toxic waste, and they don't know where to put it, so they have it mixed into metal alloys. They have uranium mixed in now with cement, DU mixed in with different metal parts on forklifts and things, and that's what they're doing. And I have actually seen some blurbs, but I haven't done much research into it, about all sorts of new chemical mixes that they're dumping on highways to, quote, keep the snow down, but that really it's that chemical companies have learned to lobby and sell to cities cocktails of chemicals that'll eat through ice, and it's just so they don't have to pay to store the toxic waste. They don't have to pay to have it shipped out of the country. They just dump it onto your highways. It's the oldest trick in the book. Take yard fertilizer. You notice the type for grass, it says do not put on gardens because it's got heavy metals in it. Well, that just runs off into the water supply. And humans, it's not just the elite. Humans have always dumped everything in the river and let folks downstream deal with it. It's just good old-fashioned pollution. But specifically, what are you saying is in this stuff that's eating everything?
Well, they're saying it's calcium bicarbonate, but they've got a few different names for it. And like I said, it's eating the wiring out from the underside of the trucks, and it's actually scoring little holes into the aluminum that I have a real rough time getting out. And sometimes it's as high as 11 feet up on the top of, they'll have a cabinet on the back of a picker truck or something like that. And I asked them, well, if that's what it's doing to the metal and the wiring, then what do you suppose it's doing in the fine mist when you're driving down the highway behind these guys to your lungs? Because you are breathing it, or guys that live in the country or whatever. And so, I mean, just, by process of elimination, you can deduce that more than likely if it's eating holes in metal, it's probably not very good for us.
So you're saying this stuff's so powerful that it eats holes in just a matter of hours. It's not like regular salt where you've got to leave tons of it on metal and it takes months or even years. You're saying, how fast is this eating holes in the aluminum?
Well, let me put it this way. I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I've got customers that I would go and do their stuff once a year. And, I keep in regular contact with them, and within a month, they're telling me that it's eating holes in it. So that's pretty quick. And, I mean, you're talking about guys that are on the road pretty much every day. And not only that, but they're using the same product to put on the back roads for dust suppression. So it's year-round.
Unbelievable. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. Tony in Idaho, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Alex. Glad to talk to you.
Thank you.
Alex?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to relay a story to a couple of arrests I had last time I was thrown in jail. I am a follower of Christ, so you understand where I'm coming from. I'm a follower of Christ. I don't carry any of the marks of the world where they claim ownership of the carrier. So I've gone to jail so many times that I've lost count. And in the county where I was going to jail at, they got tired of paying for all these court costs and everything and jail time. So they started looking into the law to try to figure some way to keep me in jail for a long time. And the judge, the prosecutor, and the sheriff all ordered the deputies to leave me alone. And the reason I know this is because the very next day the deputy stopped me and he held me for something like 30 minutes, threatening me, saying he's going to take everything I have. He said that they've ordered me not to do this, but as soon as they find out I can take you under law, I'm going to come after you, and I'm going to take everything you got and throw you in jail.
No, sir, you've hit the key to everything here. Why do you think police admit, even in the news, they're ordered to release illegal aliens? Because the globalists want them here to drive down wages and to balkanize the country. I'm not even blaming the folks for wanting to be here. They're fleeing tyranny into another tyranny, but one that isn't as bad yet. But that's why the illegals are above the law, is because they just keep coming back and they just ignore all these fraudulent globalist laws. Okay? Now, the globalists call you a sovereign citizen. They say you're the #1 enemy because when they bring in their cashless society, everybody's going to start imitating what you've done. And if you don't follow what they're doing, they won't be able to get their New World Order. And so Agenda 21, all of it, is designed to bankrupt you and make you go into their compact cities to live in their government housing where you're forced to take the shots and all the rest of it. And so people like you who are completely dropping out of this corrupt system, you're the people they hate. And because they can't suck any money out of you, they're now leaving you alone. But I'd try to be friendly to them and explain why you're doing what you're doing. You know, I got Ed Asner coming up, but after he leaves us, if you want to stay on hold, I'll go into some overdrive. I want to talk to you some more because this is a phenomenon everywhere. We're in overdrive, and I am here taking a few final calls. I want to finish with Tony in Idaho. I was telling a story, and then get to Matt in Australia. And I won't be able to get to Gary and Michelle. I apologize. But Tony in Idaho, so they've arrested you many, many times. Finally, they couldn't squeeze any money out of you. They tried to find a way to lock you up permanently to teach you a lesson, but the Constitution wouldn't let them do that. There'll be a FEMA camp later, don't worry. But because you're out of their system, which a lot of folks have been forced out of it because you just can't live in it. A lot of people can't. It's designed to be unsustainable so they can force you into their system. That they now are just leaving you alone. I mean, you know, the police, you're told to leave illegal aliens alone. Can't you leave sovereign citizens, mainly folks that have lost everything they had or disabled? Because I know a lot of these folks here in Austin. Can't you just let them sleep with their little minivan? Can't you just let them have their little can of Spam and their crackers and go do odd jobs at people's houses? No, you got to arrest them every week and beat them up because they're the Americans that aren't paying money to the foreign bankers. They're the Americans that aren't going to go along with the cashless society. And it's the same. They're attacking these type of guys all over the world. Let me guess your profile, Tony. Did I accurately guess it, or are you a handyman?
Pretty much, yes.
There you go. I just know hundreds of this guy. Okay, and so they attack you like you're the living plague because the feds have taught them so. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the last cop that stopped me was a month after they had already told me that the sheriff had ordered him to leave me alone. And I was kind of worried because this guy followed me for a long ways past a bunch of houses, and he stopped me out in the middle of nowhere out on a dirt road.
Yeah, well, because they tell him these are cop killers, that you want to deal with them. Go ahead and arrest him. He reads ADL comic books all day, believing it. And so he was ready for you probably out there on that lonely stretch. By the way, I didn't ask you if you were a handyman, did I? Off air.
No.
No, I mean, I want people to know I know what I'm talking about. You are people, I don't want to get into your whole story, but I imagine it's been pretty rough, and now you're out there just trying to get food to eat.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you about that last stop. This guy, this is a cop that had taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. He was accusing me of being a constitutionalist as if I was a lawbreaker by being a constitutionalist in his mind.
No, I know. See, I knew that was coming next. No, it's all ADL, which is a foreign government, and Southern Poverty Law Center, and these Obama globalists that say we're the enemy. Listen, they tell cops you're a terrorist if you talk about Agenda 21. It's all real. It's all happening. Everything we talked about is happening, but these cops are brainwashed. Listen, I have video of police finding a copy of a Constitution in a car, and they begin to hyperventilate. And you think it's a Monty Python joke. It's not.
Yeah, one of the reasons that the sheriff had ordered them to leave me alone is because there is a maxim of law written in man's law, in American law, that states the source of the right determines the governing law. I am a follower of Christ. I haven't submitted myself.
Well, that's right. That's why the Amish don't have to have all the IDs and stuff, because under common law, it's recognized they are apart from the system, and this country was founded by the Pilgrims trying to do the same thing. The basis of America is about leave me alone. The basis of America is I can come out of your system.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know my ancestors hopped on a ship, a leaky ship, and came across the ocean trying to get away from all that stuff. But, I mean, it's right back here. And they're like, well, you got to follow some law. Yeah, if it's not a totally lawless New World Order law, it's not constitutional. And our Constitution is based on God's law. It points out our law comes from God, and you're going to follow it. I'm going into more overdrive. I'm going to come back with Matt in Australia, Tony, and others. Tony, God bless you. I appreciate your call. I know the children. And I know myself. They say that if you know yourself, that that's the beginning of real knowledge. Fear of God is the beginning of knowledge as well. Ha, ha, ha. Bless your soul. You think you're in control. No, no one is in control, ladies and gentlemen, but God. And the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. All right. I want to hit a few other news items here before I finish up with some of these calls in this segment. And I also want to point everybody to a video that I put out Sunday morning that's got well over 200,000 views. And the way the YouTube system's delayed, it'll probably have 500,000 by tomorrow, which is good because this will really save a lot of lives. The secret of Whitney Houston's death discovered. And then I just get into the dangers of prescription drugs in the piece and point out that it was prescription drugs that killed her and not the illegal drugs. Not that I'm saying illegal drugs are good either. And I just point out the same globalists that are pushing prescription drugs on us are the ones bringing illegal drugs in. So it's an important video, and it goes along with an article written by Paul Watson that's also gone viral today. Establishment media hides fact that Big Pharma killed Whitney Houston. Here's some of the other articles at Infowars.com. Mossad boss secretly trekked to U.S. looking for Iran attack green light. And the media is leaking that. Kurt wrote about it. But that's just all part of this show to act like Israel. And people say, well, you're defending Israel, saying the U.S. is involved. No, I'm not. The leadership of Israel's crazy wanting this war. And their own advisors have told them that on record. The point is the U.S. government's involved as well because the U.S. government is globalist just like Israel. Does that mean the Iranians are good? No. I don't like big government. I'm into the founding fathers and history. I don't like big authoritarian government. They're all bad. The Chi-Coms, the Russians, all of it. The world's in a lot of trouble. Free, good countries are very rare. You got to work really hard for them. So this idea of, well, you either are for the Iranians or for the United States. For the Iranians, Halliburton, for 15 years under sanctions, is the only company allowed to sell them oil-filled equipment, shutting down all our other companies. Halliburton's going to lecture us all day how patriotic they are when they're based in Dubai to get away from extradition charges. XE, they're so patriotic. Blackwater, they're a bunch of globalists that hate this country. Their minions down at the grassroots level, killing themselves for the New World Order, think they're doing it for America. They take our best and brightest farm boys and turn them into New World Order killers. And they go around killing people all day, murdering people, torturing people, thinking they're defending America, doing the hard things they have to save the country. All right, I'm going to your calls. It's just I see this news. China avoids clear support for UN peacekeepers in Syria. I told you that was coming 6 months ago. They've always planned, it's part of a larger plan, Wesley Clark's talked about it, to invade. They've already got proxy armies invading from 3 sides. And they've got fake actors all over CNN who are the voice of the resistance, lying about casual. I'm not saying Assad's good, but it's clear exaggeration, like babies in incubators. How do I know it's all fake? I hardly watch CNN, but I heard about these people they have on via Skype video, so I started going and watching them. The guys, there's 2 of them, are such bad actors that Anderson Cooper, who CIA has on every day, they're such bad actors. Show to show, there's different accents, and they go back and forth in their perfect English accent, upper-class English accent, and into the fake Arabic accent of that region. I mean, they don't even have good operatives in there. I mean, they can't even, Gary, we need an actor for Team America. America, America, oh yeah, fighting for your freedom. All right. I mean, they don't even have good actors. One day he's like, they are killing us. It is terrible. They're blowing up. They kill... Some say they kill no one, not true. 40,000 dead. They kill us, help us. Please come with peacekeepers now. Please, why you not help us? They're killing babies. Just like in Libya. They're raping children. Now the Al-Qaeda forces really are raping people. Yeah, there you go. They're putting up a Team America where he's like, help me. And they're like, how dare you make fun of us? Fire another missile. That's hilarious. I watched that on the treadmill yesterday. It's not about being gay, Gary. I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, what's happened is big chemical companies and others have got all this toxic waste. And they don't know where to put it, so they have it mixed into metal alloys. They have uranium mixed in now with cement, DU mixed in with different metal parts on forklifts and things. And it's just so they don't have to pay to store the toxic waste. They don't have to pay to have it shipped out of the country. They just dump it onto your highways. It's the oldest trick in the book. Take yard fertilizer. You notice the type for grass, it says do not put on gardens because it's got heavy metals in it. Well, that just runs off into the water supply. And humans, it's not just the elite. Humans have always dumped everything in the river and let folks downstream deal. And that's what they're doing. And I have actually seen some blurbs, but I haven't done much research into it, about all sorts of new chemical mixes that they're dumping on highways to, quote, keep the snow down. But that really it's that chemical companies have learned to lobby and sell to cities cocktails of chemicals that'll eat through ice with it. It's just good old-fashioned pollution. But specifically, what are you saying is in this stuff that's eating everything?
Well, they're saying it's calcium bicarbonate, but they've got a few different names for it. And like I said, it's eating the wiring out from the underside of the trucks, and it's actually scoring little holes into the aluminum that I have a real rough time getting out. And sometimes it's as high as 11 feet up on the top of, they'll have a cabinet on the back of a picker truck or something like that. And I asked them, well, if that's what it's doing to the metal and the wiring, then what do you suppose it's doing in the fine mist when you're driving down the highway behind these guys to your lungs? Because you are breathing it, or guys that live in the country or whatever. And so, I mean, just, by process.